Boozing, cudging, womanising, womanising, cudging, boozing. There must be more in life, Chunky. There's always snooker, best of 3 frames.
What time do you call this?
I reserve my defence.
Do you know it's Wednesday morning?
Never. Your calendar's fast.
I've told you before, booze is your worst enemy.
Watch this. But you've always said, love your enemy.
I never said anything about swallowing it, did I?
James Bolam is Andy Capp next Monday at 8 on Thames.
Next on Thames, we turn the clocks back to the 1930s.
I was still a baby when we left home. We couldn't take much with us, but I'm glad we didn't leave these. The Illustrated Encyclopedia of Wildlife. The whole animal kingdom is here, to look at and read about, for enjoyment and reference, with over 5,000 colour pictures and photographs. I counted. It must be a wonderful place. Earth.
The Encyclopedia of Wildlife, Volume 1, at the special price of 99p.
Penguin to the penguin. Man can't do it, just can't do it. Penguin to the penguin. Penguin to the penguin. The man can't do it, just can't do it. Go for the chocolate. Ha! Live for the biscuit. Penguin, penguin. The dog can't do it.
No way can you do it.
To the penguin, to the penguin, to the penguin. Penguin.
Dick and Wazzling Shoes have just bought this place.
Sorry, mate.
It's their first home. Nearly half the homes Abbey National lend money for are for first-timers, which made them a good choice, didn't it?
An Abbey National mortgage. It could be your unfair advantage.
I know just the right spot for this duck, Dick.
Don't just sit there. Ski resorts, snow reports, and the latest holidays are on your screen. Page your Oracle for the fastest information on the slopes.
Don't forget, at 5 o'clock, we'll be joining the news team at ITN for the early morning news. But right now, we take a look at what was making the news back in the 1930s with more vintage newsreels as we go 50 years on.
There's more true life epic drama and a new look through the night Thursday on Thames. At 2, the conclusion of Voyage of the Damned.
Do not give up hope.
We have visas, why can't we land?
Yeah!
Yes,
Yeah! We want to land here, in Havana. The whole world is watching you and praying for you.
Why are you giving in?
In 2 days' time, when we land, the Gestapo will be waiting for us.
The dramatic conclusion of Voyage of the Damned. Just part of your Thursday entertainment with a variety of programs and a new look through the night to Friday morning on Thames.
Coming up next, the ITN Morning News.
Once upon a time, there was a little boy whose cough was driving his chums up the wall. So off they went to find his mum. She'd know what to do. And sure enough, she had the answer. Tixie-Licks. After all, she'd seen a commercial that said Tixie-Licks is specially made to soothe children's coughs to sleep. She gave her little boy a spoonful, and before you could say, available only from chemists, he was sleeping soundly, and his chums could enjoy their evening in peace.
Call this a service. Traditional ways of depositing and withdrawing money can prove
Nearly there.
inconvenient.
I don't believe it.
The AbbeyLink Red Diamond, however, allows you to make deposits or withdrawals on up to 3 different types of account with a single card. AbbeyLink, a member of Link, the national cash network.
John Wilson, carpenter. Stuart Blackman, biochemist. Terry Smythe, telephone engineer. They're in the Territorial Army in their spare time. A third of Britain's land forces trained to fight alongside the regulars. And we're looking for more recruits. Make a free call on 0800 555 555 now. We're ready and waiting to talk to you.
Get the maximum coffee taste. Get the max. Get the maximum rich and smooth. Get the max. Get the maximum blend. Get the max with a friend. Maxwell House is the way to the taste of today. Get the maximum smooth, rich stroke. Get the max. Get the coffee that captures most. Get the max. When you taste, there's no doubt you get full flavor out. Get the maximum taste. That's what it's all about. Get the max.
Get the taste. Get the max.
The chief delight in our delightful world is the taste of the country, without the fat of the land.
This week's TV Times is your ticket to all that's new on ITV and Channel 4. That lovable rogue Andy Capp is brought to life by James Bolam. Bobby Davro cooks up something fishy and something funny. Penelope Keith moves in to keep order on Watch My Line. Catherine Rogers joins the firefighters in London's burning. And Bruce Forsyth goes into the bullring for a bet. You can see a lot of Sally Whittaker while the comic strip gang reveal all. And winning lines for big cash prizes. TV Times is just the ticket.
It's Thames, Thursday night entertainment. At 7, Sporting Triangles, the game that tests 3 teams and your knowledge of sport. At 7:30, Trouble in Bless This House.
You're very lucky that your lawn is covered with petals. Your flaming dog covers my lawn with nothing but a lawn, thank you.
At 8, Busman's Holiday. Last week's winners face new teams from the Welsh National Opera and a Scottish school. And at 9, it's LA Law.
Oh, you broke it.
Take off your shirt.
Douglas.
I want to fondle your hooters.
Brackman ponders a few points of the law. It's all part of your Thursday night entertainment on Thames.
I'm trying to work out how I'd react if someone said that to me. We've time now, before we join ITN, for some music from a very talented artist. It's Robert Plant with Heaven Knows. You're watching Thames in London. Now we go over to the studios of ITN for the early morning news. The time is exactly 5 o'clock.
Striking Ford workers divided on new pay deal. Crucial vote this morning. Good morning. It's 5 a.m. on Thursday the 18th of February. Ford workers throughout Britain will vote in a few hours on whether to accept a new pay offer and end their strike, which has crippled production through Europe. And John Stalker, the police chief removed from an investigation into the RUC's alleged shoot-to-kill policy, has welcomed a new inquiry into the force. Those reports coming up, but also in today's morning news, fresh from his victory at New Hampshire, a jubilant George Bush heads south for the next round. And Michael Dukakis, the leading Democratic contender, prepares to fight his rivals at this next stage. A special report on the fallout from yesterday's New Hampshire primary on ITN's World News. And neighborhood gangs battling it out on the streets of America. A new wave of organized crime sweeps across major U.S. cities. That from America's cable news network. But first, car workers at Ford's 22 British plants vote in a few hours on a revised pay offer designed to end their 11-day strike. The workers will first go to mass meetings with shop stewards at the major Halewood and Dagenham plants, urging rejection of the deal, in defiance of advice from national union negotiators. Tim Nielsen reports.
Union leaders are hopeful the agreement will be accepted by the workforce, paving the way for a return to work on Monday. The new deal guarantees 14% over 2 years, but that's not enough to satisfy the 8,000 workers at the traditionally hardline Halewood plant on Merseyside. There, shop stewards are urging rejection of the offer, and pickets are in no mood to go back.
We don't want a union deal. The money's there, we deserve it, you know what I mean? As far as I'm concerned, I've been quite prepared to stay out a lot longer to get our aims and aspirations.
Local leaders of 4,000 men at Dagenham are also telling members not to accept. But significantly, workers at the Bridgend engine plant in South Wales, regarded as militant, are expected to accept the offer.
Journalists at the breakfast television station TV-AM will decide this morning whether to strike in support of the 299 technicians dismissed over a dispute about working practices. Management have denied reports that they're planning to replace staff with large numbers of non-union technicians from Australia. Mrs Thatcher is expected to tell MPs today of plans to carry out the biggest restructuring of the civil service for more than a century. It will mean some functions being carried out by the private sector. Civil service unions representing more than 500,000 workers say they will vigorously oppose the reforms. The majority of voters in Britain say they're willing to pay higher taxes to help the National Health Service, according to an opinion poll this morning. 67% of those questioned in the Daily Telegraph Gallup poll say they'd pay at least an extra £1 a week if it was earmarked for the health service. Former police chief John Stalker has welcomed a new inquiry into possible disciplinary charges against Northern Ireland police officers. The Ulster Secretary, Mr Tom King, told the Commons that the IUC made serious mistakes after the shoot-to-kill allegations of 1982. He's asked Mr Charles Kelly, the Chief Constable of Staffordshire, to lead part of the new investigation. Mr Stalker has backed Mr King's statement.
Further delays in the resolution of this whole saga can only further undermine credibility and delay the restoration of normal relationships between all involved.
The simple truth of the matter is that as far as these particular issues are concerned, we are at an impasse. There is no progress. Disciplinary action alone in this area will not suffice.
It's the third inquiry into allegations that the IUC ambushed unarmed suspects. John Stalker welcomed the statement.
Well, I'm glad he's made it. I think it says many of the things that I hope would be said. I think it's helpful, useful. It's the first step, hopefully, in the healing of problems, and at a personal level, yes, I'm glad.
The White House has demanded the immediate release of an American Marine officer kidnapped by gunmen near the Lebanese city of Tyre. Lieutenant Colonel William Higgins, who was serving as United Nations Truce Observer, is the 11th American abducted in the Lebanon. American drug investigators believe a top soldier from the island of Haiti is at the center of a major drug smuggling racket. From Washington, Ken Rees reports.
Jean-Claude Paul is one of Haiti's top military commanders and a close associate of the former dictator Baby Doc Duvalier. He's now the target of a major U.S. drug smuggling investigation. The colonel, who commands Haiti's largest army battalion, is said to have been implicated in last November's Election Day massacre, in which 35 people died. Now U.S. officials are preparing drugs charges against him, a move which could lead to more unrest on this troubled island.